That first reading paints quite a picture, doesn't it? Actually, the gospel reading does too, but I think today we won't focus on that one. But that first reading, a community struggling through a difficult time, whose leader suddenly departs to go on a vision quest or something. In the absence of that charismatic leader, the people start to get restless and need something to cling to. Afraid they might revolt or riot, a desperate priest gives them something to focus on. Quick, let's create a new god to worship. And while we're at it, let's have a big desert rave. Burning Man, except in the Sinai desert 3,000 years ago. And so, alas, those newly freed slaves completely lost the plot. Does that story sound familiar to anyone here at St. Simon's? I seem to remember a story about a charismatic leader who led a community on a journey, who suddenly was absent. Or at least she was a bit less present for a while, and then indeed was finally absent altogether. There were other priests around, and perhaps a community that started to wonder if it might have lost its way. St. Simon's had begun a journey with that leader, but then maybe felt a little stuck and abandoned in the middle of the road. And yet, when I arrived here halfway through that journey, there was not a golden calf to be found. And we all know churches in stress or transition can certainly find some idols to revel around. They can separate into camps. They can argue about minor matters. They can fight about hymns. They can get lost in nostalgia. In other words, churches also can lose the plot the way those Israelites did back in the desert and forget why they're on that journey in the first place. But that didn't happen here. When I pulled up last September, St. Simon's was just finishing a series on the prophets that included inviting Jewish and Muslim members of the local community to preach in this assembly. On Wednesday evenings, a group was gathering to learn about members of the LGBTQ communities and explore how to be a church where such folks know they are not only welcome, but desired. St. Simon's Green Team had just won an award and dedicated a pollinator garden that still grows outside this office. And rather than stick your Sunday prayers in the freezer to protect them, your prayer together was marked by creativity and openness. And after we started walking together, you didn't stop. Our Sunday gatherings kept right on changing, and you accepted every invitation to try something new. We celebrated baptisms in a new and joyous way. We gathered together around the table. We processed through the church and sang new songs. You didn't allow the welcome of LGBTQ persons to end on Wednesday night, but brought it to Sundays in June and raised a welcoming flag so that today your gay interim rector, whose partner's name is David, can wish you all a happy National Coming Out Day, which is today, with confidence that you want to be the kind of church that gives thanks for God's gifts of diversity in gender and sexuality. And still, in the middle of all that, like the serpents the Israelites will later meet in that desert, COVID arrived and dispersed us. Really, we might have asked? Just when we're once more on our way, another stumbling block appears? What a great opportunity to throw in the towel. But no, we found a new way to gather on Sunday. And on every single Sunday since late March, this church has gathered between 70 and 80 people on Zoom, not to mention the other gatherings for prayer and friendship. And we have consistently done that all this time. And instead of postponing the work of feeding hungry people in summer suppers, St. Simon's Ministry of Outreach got energized and organized to feed hundreds of people, and will continue to do that into the winter. St. Simon's, you have never, ever lost the plot. And why not? Why haven't you found yourselves caught in some Episcopalian desert rave around things that do not matter? I have an idea. Could it be that, unlike those Israelites, St. Simon's was never dependent on one charismatic leader, or even on the other priests who were a part of the band? The answer to those questions is surely yes. St. Simon's was then and is now a church of ministers, a community of leaders. And even when one or two important ones depart, that council of shepherds that is this church keeps it on course. And because of the work of everyone, the whole church, St. Simon's journey never stopped. You always were and are still well on your way to where God is leading you. And therein lies the challenge. When Jenny arrives, it might be tempting to say, "Phew, glad that's over. Now we can settle into a new promised land." But if COVID has taught us anything, it is that the order of the day for churches is change. Transition will surely be the reality of any church for a long time to come. Change upon change upon change. Not for its own sake, but in response to the call of God to come further into the wilderness so that you can discover who you are called to be. You will soon welcome a new leader to help shepherd the journey into that change. And as I continue my own desert journey on a different path, it's clear to me that St. Simon's is ready and eager to see where God is leading. To which I say, Alleluia, 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 and thanks be to God.